Hello, wrestling fans. This is Sal Lasardo reporting in from Orlando, Florida, with this edition of Rough Cuts. This edition, we're going to talk about wrestlers in the WWE that are not being utilized. Wrestlers that we have not seen on camera or have been around, but they're not being used in a way that I think that they should be used, that their talents are not being taken full advantage of. Please be advised that these are my opinions only. They are not affiliated with the WWE or Bill Apter. And we'll also have a fan question that sent me an email. I'll answer that at the end of this video. Remember, if you do have a question you want me to answer on a future video, it's Sal, N as in Nancy, Bandit, 42@gmail.com. Send me a question or post it here in the comment section, and the next time I do a video at the end, I will be more than happy to answer it for you. We'll cover all the bases, no stone unturned, that's for sure. As far as the topic is concerned, let's get right to it. I've three men that come to mind that are not being used properly. Number one, Aleister Black has to be at the top of the list. I'm not going to go on and say there's something, what happened between him and his wife or anything has anything to do with it, but he was doing outstanding in NXT, a former champion, and then he came up, and I know they didn't bring him and his wife together. They don't do the couple thing, which is fine. But he has this catchy gimmick and all these tattoos rising up, almost kind of like the Undertaker a little bit, without the gongs and the bells and whistle. But he had a presence about him. But not only that, he could wrestle. Not a man of many words, but he could wrestle. And he has this deceptive look. And what happened? I expected him to have title shots and maybe a title reign or even a U.S. title or, on Raw, something. What happened? He hasn't even been around in the longest time. We haven't even seen him. We don't even know what's going on. And if you're not going to use him, send him back to NXT where he can, close a heel. You got Ciampa, Gargano. You got guys down there, Finn. Let him go back down there. It's not a demotion. It's if there's no room on Raw or SmackDown, then move him back. Let him utilize his talents. Why pay him to sit on the sideline? I mean, that's not what these men and women are here for. They're not being paid to sit on the sideline. They're paid to perform for us. And Aleister Black hasn't been used. And I like to see him do something. If not, then release him. And that's the only other option. If you're not going to use him, release him. As far as another wrestler, Sami Zayn had said this best. And Bo Dallas has not been used properly at all. Bo Dallas, yes. Bray is, the Rotundo. We know Bray, but Bo hasn't been used. Bo hasn't even been on TV in the longest time. It's like he's starting a life outside of wrestling. And I remember Sami saying that he is gifted and talented and hard work and everything else. He doesn't have to be in the world title scene, but why wasn't he maybe getting a tag team partner? Why didn't he join his brother Bray? I mean, everybody knows they're related for real. Why didn't he maybe go and join the Firefly Funhouse or something with Alexa, and help his brother out? That would be an interesting. So I think he can handle it. Or maybe get another tag team partner and find someone that he can maybe team up with. Maybe Buddy Murphy, since Buddy Murphy isn't really doing much right now. And bring them together and have him utilize his talent. The Rotunda family are gifted performers and gifted all around. I mean, just look at their father, and their uncle Barry Windham. The whole family's got the bloodlines. And Bray, reinvented himself and is doing all this metamorphosis stuff. But both seem to have got lost in it. And I think Sammy gave him a tremendous compliment. And I say, why not use him? If he wants to wrestle, and I think he does, use him. Find something for him to do. He doesn't need to be a jobber, someone, getting some guys over. But, put him out there. Put him in some kind of storyline. Team him with his brother or, you know, get him a tag team partner. Let's get the tag titles going. I mean, you could always find something for him to do. If you have that ability, uncanny ability to attract an audience, and he does kind of have that catchy feel when he gets out there, use him. Why not? That's just how I look at it. Use him, and he's not being used. and I'm kind of disappointed. And it's heartbreaking to watch. And unfortunately, again, you're sitting on the sidelines wondering, what's next for Bo. Bo knows wrestling, does he? Well, I think he does. I think he deserves a lot better than what he's getting at this point. So that's where those are two guys right there that I think that are not being utilized. Another name that comes to mind is Buddy Murphy too. Buddy Murphy got lost in this whole thing with the Seth Rollins issue and then the storyline with Ray and the daughter issue. The whole thing. I know, but Buddy Murphy, is another one of these guys here that is just caught in wrestling purgatory, especially on the main roster. And you know, I didn't care for. I think a lot of us didn't care for the storyline with Ray and his daughter, and all that's understandable. But you got a talented guy here, and that can do a lot of things. I think he would be better off going back to NXT. I think he would be a lot better off in the long run. I think better off than Alex Black. I think Alex Black should have something to say on the main roster, but I really do think that Buddy should go down to Alex or should go down to NXT more than Alex Black because Buddy just doesn't seem to. I don't have anything for him really to do, and he's just caught in this wrestling purgatory, and it's just not going anywhere. And it's not fair to him either. It's really just not fair to him. So, want to know your thoughts on those three guys. But Aleister Black, obviously, I disappointed not seeing him. Bo and Buddy Murphy are my three guys that are not being used properly, and it's disappointing. The women, well, here we go with the women. Number one, to the top of my list is Peyton Royce. I know the whole thing with Charlotte and Lacey. Now Lacey's pregnant and all, but you break up the Iconics, and what's happened really? I would have thought that Peyton would have had the title by now, at least even for a brief period. She hasn't. She gets teamed up with other people. And, I thought she was getting this major, major push. I don't see it. What's going on with Peyton? I kind of in a way miss the Iconics. To tell you the truth, I missed them, and I missed them together. And I feel, Peyton's got a lot to offer. She can, do stuff on SmackDown. Her and Sasha could have a heck of a feud. Her and Sasha could really go at it. I think they put on a hell of a match together. I don't doubt it. I mean, you saw, she's got a lot of uncanny ability, and she could wrestle, and she's gotten better and better. I mean, she's a former tag team champion with Billy Kay. I want to see what she can do as maybe getting a singles run, and why not use her? I mean, she's got plenty of ability, but if you don't really let her go and unleash the cage and let her roar like a lion and let that lightning strike, how are we ever going to find out? I don't think we've really found out or really untapped into Peyton's potential yet. And unless something is done, I don't think we'll ever know unless she goes somewhere else. I want to see Peyton get more involved this year. I really do. I think she's very special, a very special character. And from the videos I've seen her off camera, she's more than just a beautiful lady. She's a very talented lady in the ring, and she's definitely improved her mic skills and her in-ring ability. And I'm disappointed we haven't seen much more of her. And I would have thought she would have had a title reign more than the tag title. If you're not going to give her a title reign, then team it back up with Billy and let her go after the tag titles and let them take it for a while. Let them work it. Let them work the brands. Nikki Cross comes to mind too. I know ever since Bliss Cross Applesauce teared apart and Lixa went on this thing with Bray, I feel like Nikki Cross has gone into purgatory as well. Nikki will probably be better off going back to NXT more than anybody. I really think, as far as the women's concerned, she really needs to go back down there because she can go and she could wrestle and go back to being Nikki Cross. It worked when she came up, but she was so much better with Alexa, even though she was kind of like Alexa's sidekick. But she held her own as a tag team champion with Alexa. She didn't succeed in getting the title, but she's another one that I want to see get a push. And if you're not going to give her this push, then she needs to go either to another brand or go back to NXT. I don't have a problem with her going to NXT back where where she'll excel because there's plenty of women down there that she can go and wrestle with. But she's caught in purgatory and right now she's like the men. She's caught in purgatory. And like with Buddy Murphy, she's caught in purgatory. And I want to see what she can do more. I know what she can do, but I don't see enough of it. Is where I'm going at with this. And I want to know what your thoughts on that. A lot of people may argue this too, but Bailey's been missing in action a bit. I would have thought Bailey and Sasha would have headlined. She comes to mind, and Bailey, you got a former world champion, tag team champion, the role model, and really haven't seen much of Bailey, and kind of disappointed in that. I don't tell me there's not much for her to do. There's plenty for her to do. I really thought her and Sasha should have been in WrestleMania, to be honest with you. I thought she got a shaft. I mean, if it wasn't going to be Rhea that was going to win the Rumble, I would have hoped that it would have been Sasha. And nothing against Bianca, but on WrestleMania, the grandest stage of all, you have to have Sasha and Bailey if you're not going to have Rhea go for the title. And and right now I'm disappointed. She's MIA for the most part. And I know Osaka's coming back too. And someone said, "What about Osaka?" Osaka's another one too. I know she's coming back and she's going to defend, but you know what? She hasn't defended the women's title since September. She got the tag title with Charlotte. She got injured and this and that, but she's gone. She's going to go right now to WrestleMania almost without defending the title. She's another one. What's going on with Osaka? We're going to find out after WrestleMania what's going on. But I also think more than Osaka, really Bailey is really something, and I want to see what Bailey. Bailey's got to come back, and she's very relevant. I mean, you can't have someone of this caliber with this resume not involved in something. I mean, you can't have it. You can't have it. I'm sorry, you can't have it. So those are my picks. As far as the women, as I said, Peyton Royce will be at the top, Nikki, and maybe a tie between Bailey and Osaka, but Bailey more so. Question before we wrap up both cuts. Mike, thank you, Mike. Same Mike from last time. Don't forget to ask your questions. Got another Mike. Same Mike from last time wanted to know: will AEW merge with New Japan or Impact? Well, short and sweet, within reason, Mike. To answer your question, I don't see in the foreseeable future that AEW will merge with New Japan, even though maybe guys like Moxley or something may go over and wrestle for them. But I don't see a full merger in that per se. I think New Japan will continue to do their thing, and Tony will allow his performers to be borrowed to go over, since they don't wrestle dates like the WWE does with the continuity of what goes on. They have their show on Wednesday. They have their thing on YouTube on Tuesday. They're not wrestling so much, so you can send Moxley and a couple of guys over to New Japan. Impact would be intriguing, and I thought about this thing with Impact. I don't think we're going to see a full Impact merger per se, because I know a lot of people say, well, it can work. And the idea is that I don't think it could work the way I would expect it to. If you go back in the day, the NWA and the AWA had their super clashes. And when they had their super clashes, with all this talent, it just kind of fizzled. It caught the eye, but it didn't really come off as well as it should. It was kind of a disappointment. I mean, going back in the 80s, they're on YouTube. You can look it up. So, can they do a modern day thing? Don Callis and Tony Khan come together and put it together with their talent and an EAW talent and try to get a really solid pay-per-view out of it. It's possible, but I don't expect a full merger, Mark. I think we could see some crossover, but I don't think we're going to go back to the day of the NWA, AWA super clashes that happened back in the 80s. I don't think we're going to have it. I don't think we'll have those type of super clashes, but I could see a performer here and a performer there going back and forth. But I don't fully see for the foreseeable future that we're going to have a pay-per-view where both these companies are going to come together in one show. But here and there, it's very possible that, like Moxley going back and forth with Omega, or, maybe Britt Baker may go over, but we're not going to see a full-blown merge. I think Impact needs to keep its identity, And I think AEW, since they're starting out new, still, I think that they are still finding their identity, and I think they still need to continue doing what they're doing and grow and build their product and their brand. I want to see that more so, but I don't see a full-blown, immediate pay-per-view coming together at any time in the near future. That's just my opinion. I can see the crossover, but not a full-blown merger. So with that being said, I hope, Mike, that answers your question. And for this edition of Rough Cuts and Buddy in the background barking, uh, may, may you be safe, may you be well, and as always, may all your matches be a main event. This weekend, I will have Fastlane posted. We will get Fastlane. And also, we're going to talk about who do you think is the best heel in all of wrestling in any promotion right now. I want to know who you think. I'm going to do an upcoming video article, probably an article, on who I think the best heel, the best bad person, man or woman, man and woman. Who do you think is the baddest man and the baddest woman, heel-wise, in any wrestling promotion? I'm going to do an upcoming video or even an article on that coming up after Fastlane. And then we're going to head to Mania. So, again, this is Sal Rough Cuts, and for Buddy, safe, be well. We'll see you over the weekend for Fastlane preview.